I don't know. There's something about your content that people seem kind of like skeptical of. Like one of the first, I think the person that told me to interview you was like, there's mad rumors that this dude is a scammer and he got all his money off scamming. And the more of your stuff that I watch, I'm like he has a lot of YouTube views. He's selling merchant. It seems like the money is probably coming from YouTube and merchant.
That's biggest like cloud over my head.
Really?
Like, everybody that sees me, well, first when I was first blowing up on YouTube, it was, oh, mommy's and daddy's money. I ain't had that. Then I got to where I'm at now is, oh, he's a scammer. Then I just had some big go on with my whole clothing brand thing. I have a brand called Cozy.
Right.
And like some crazy went on to where Shopify held my payout because I was doing this thing called the pre-order method, which a couple clothing brand owners put me on in the beginning, like when I was first starting. Take
pre-orders, then you make as many shirts or whatever as you need to make.
So the pre-order method is you drop clothes, like you get samples, you do a little photo shoot, you drop the clothes, you don't have the clothes yet on hand. So from that point on, you take the money that you got from Shopify, you go to your manufacturer, you pay the manufacturer, you get the clothes made, and then you ship them out once the clothes are made. Now this method, a lot of brands, like big brands do this.
Yes.
But it's like now in today's day and age where TikTok is out, like people have a short attention span. So they want instant. When they order something, they want it right after they place the order. So it's like with the whole pre-order and the whole Shopify holding my money, it was just like, okay, he getting all these cars, he dropping clothes, nobody got the clothes. Where the you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the missing puzzle to this puzzle piece? Like,
the question is like how long it takes in between you doing the sale and then you actually being able to ship it out. Like the manufacturing process is at least a couple weeks. A lot of times people get upset about that. Like how long was it taking you to get the order sent?
When I first started, I was doing good until Shopify started holding the money. Cause like I think if you get like over a 2% chargeback rate, they just ban your whole shop payouts.
Right.
Like you can't. They just no longer want to work with you. And after that, I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go to Stripe. If you know what Stripe is. I went to Stripe. Stripe is the people that held my money for another 90 days, I believe. I don't recommend working with Stripe if y'all work with Shopify and y'all trying to find another payment processor. This free game. So what y'all wanna do is find a merchant service. I just found out about this, I say 2 months ago. Find you a good merchant service, go through them. It takes time to get approved, but it's for sure worth it. And I would say don't do pre-orders. If y'all are a clothing brand, don't do pre-orders. But when I first started my brand, it wasn't many brands out there for real. And the people that was putting me on game, they was doing pre-orders.
Right.
So it's like now with all these new brands doing everything on hand, the pre-order method like burnt. And it's like the bigger I got, the worse it got. Cause it's like, that's just what they thought I did. He's a scammer.
Right, because I mean the whole problem that you solve when you do that pre-order method is basically like if you drop a shirt and nobody gives a and you only sell 50 shirts, you're like, oh well, at least I don't have a load of shirts sitting around. Whereas if you made 1,000 shirts and then you only sold 50 shirts, now you have this problem of having 950 shirts in your warehouse that you got to sell them cheap.
You start putting shit on sale and shit.
All that you don't really want to do, and it just kind of you up in the long run.
Another good thing, the pre-order method was like good for me because I ain't had the most money when I started. So it was like, okay, you don't need money to start this shit. You just need money for the sample. I had, you know what I'm saying, a little buzz going on. So I took my image, I took pictures, dropped the clothes. It went way crazier than I thought. Like I didn't expect to sell as much as I sold. And with that, as soon as I drop, I'm expecting to pay out the next business day. Cause you know, Shopify, they pay out quick. They was like, yeah, shit on hold. I'm like, fuck. Like, what's next? I done sold all this, you know what I'm saying, merchandise and can't get shipped out. Like, what do I do? So like, I'm just stuck, nigga. I'm damn near going through depression. It's like, cause I want to get out. I want to withstand my lifestyle. And I just sold way more than I would have ever expected. Like looking back at this shit today, I remember when I dropped, I was going to get a car wash or something. And my shit was just flooded, just going crazy. And I'm like, this is real life. I would have never expected that.
Right. When did you actually start getting to the point where you were able to like, you know, be buying cars? Because I feel like that's a big part of the appeal with your videos is that you got wild different outfits all the time. You got nice ass cars, you got your own spot, etc. Like that just very, very attractive to the young people out there because they're trying to figure out how they could get into the same position. When did you feel like your money actually started to really come together to the point where you could have that lifestyle?
I feel like it wasn't necessarily my money, it was my credit. My mom put me onto credit while I was young. Like,
Really?
I want to say 15 years old. And we ain't had the most money, but she knew about credit. Like, the little she knew about credit, she told me and put me on game. And as I'm young, I'm just soaking all this up. And as I turned 18, my credit was at a certain point so I can just go finance a car. And when I tell you I studied credit like crazy young, and credit is really how I got everything.
Wow.
And you can't just have good credit with no income. You got to have income.
Right.
I'm not just getting these cars with zero money down. It don't work like that.
That to me, honestly, like your whole story, and I didn't know it was 100% like that, but I had a feeling that because you teach about how to do credit repair and how to like get your credit good, and to like you have a Patreon dedicated to that I see you linked in all your video descriptions. But you know, me and a lot of other people that I know who have become successful the last few years, it's that we all end up going through is just the realization of, yeah, you might have $1 million, but if your credit up, it don't really help that much. Like
Literally.
if you and meanwhile, if you have perfect credit, you'd be able to get a good ass interest rate to be able to get a crib, get the car that you want, etc. And I know so many people that have made millions of dollars off clothing lines and social media or whatever, and they just aren't really able to move the way that they want because their credit's still.
Literally, if I was offered, I want to say, if I was offered $5 million or a 750 credit score with good history, I'm taking the credit any day because I can leverage that credit. I can get property. It's a whole bunch of shit I can get with credit.
Really?
Versus $5 million cash. Yeah, you got the money, but you don't have the credit.
So, what's the most common theory about you being a scammer?
My lifestyle is like.
But they just think you're like a standard like Atlanta scammer dude who like goes to the mall and does purchases on.
I don't.
So you don't even know about the scamming game. It's just not you.
I never knew how to scam. I never scammed a day in my life. Nigga, my mom works for the government. It's like, be serious.
Right.
I don't know, but it's just something they made up on the internet, and I just took it around with it.
It's funny because that is such a part of like a lot of different rappers. And it's like origin story. Like I remember interviewing Yachty back in the day when he first came out, and then realizing that he had an arrest for scamming before he got put on. And then like there was a lot of other people who I won't name during that time period where it was like, yo, you know, so-and-so, like, yeah, he was doing all right with music, but the reason why he was always coming out to LA and having Airbnbs and all that is because he was scamming that shit. And like, I don't know, like that's a real point of pride for a lot of people to be able to sort of live the lifestyle before they can afford it.
I don't really get it. It's because I don't really get the whole scamming shit, because it's like the people that's actually scamming, people praise them and look up to them. Versus the people like me and a couple other people who got motion going on that's not scamming, and they say we scamming, they bash us and shit like that. I don't get it. Cause like I don't want to put on names. I'm not gonna put on names out there, but people that are actually doing this shit, they'll look up to them. That's like, you know what I'm trying to say? And they'll like put them on a pedestal, like, oh yeah, he no. Versus a nigga like me that's I recorded myself walking around Atlanta. He's a scammer.
But like also a person who makes a bunch of money from selling drugs or whatever will get all this praise and accolades, and people act like that's so dope. Whereas a person like you who started a business from scratch, you look at that and you're like, yeah, you got to that point financially, but I got there and I didn't have to risk going to prison, which is a massive benefit. And we all, I know a shitload of people that have had millions of dollars and then they got locked up, they got a RICO, got whatever. And it's like, man, that's not cute at all. It might seem cool when you're young enough that you don't really have a concept of the repercussions, but that does not really excite me as I get older, you know?
That's a fact.